Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's time for our 1 minute book recs. This is where we go over all the books we read in the past week with 1 minute synopsises for each book. I still question whether it's synopsises or synopses, but that's okay. We're going for it. But before we get started with that,
Well, please hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. And like and comment. We love chatting with you guys in the comments,
yeah.
even when my cat deletes them.
Yeah.
I'm so
Noelle, that
sorry.
was so naughty of her.
She can be a little naughty sometimes, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know when I saw that, or because I looked at the when you posted pin post that, I was like, oh no, poor Noelle, poor Mandy. So, all right, so let's talk about our reading weeks. How was your week?
It was good. I definitely slowed down. I read 6 books this week.
Yeah, we are recording a day earlier too, so that probably impacts a little bit because somebody's deserting me.
Oh, please.
So, okay,
You leave way more than I ever do.
I
So don't
do,
even
I
start with
do,
that.
I do. Okay, this is gonna make you very, very happy. Okay, I read 10 books. 2 of them are rereads. I mean, you guys don't need to hear me talk about the Golden Dynasty for the billionth time, so we're just not going to. But I'm going to talk about 8 books because one was an Ice Planet Barbarian. You guys don't want to hear about that for like the billionth time either. So I have 8 books to talk about, which means I'm going to go first, and that's going to make you very happy, right?
It does. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. You got our timer up?
I do. I'm ready to
Okay.
push the
Ready to push.
button.
All right.
Okay.
So the first book that I read was an MC romance. It's called Never Ever by Isabel Roth. And this is about Everly. So that's where you get the title, Never Ever, because she goes by Ever. And Roar, which is a very odd name for a biker, but that's okay. So they have a one night stand. She is like a princess of an MC, and something had happened to that MC, and she's been away from MCs for years. And so now she goes out to the MC that's where she's at because she's moved from the old one. And she meets like the player. That's Roar. He's the one that's been in everybody's pants. And they have a one night stand, and I wouldn't even call it a one night stand. Like they get hot and heavy for a while, then he kicks her out of his bed. And then she's very upset about that. And then because she knows better. And then 4 months later, he is drunk and he does something really stupid and he can't get her out of his mind. And he tears up all the sod in front of the compound. And so he has to go get new sod at this nursery. And he goes to the nursery. Lo and behold, she owns it and she's pregnant with his child. She's got a visible bump at that point. So I did enjoy this one. I gave it like 3.75 stars. There were a few times when I was bored. I was like, it's more than 3.5. It's more than 3, but I don't know that I want to call it a 4. But I did enjoy it. So it's just he was over the top possessive crazy. He just wasn't like definitely was somewhat Hell's Angels, but not Hell's Angels enough to make me happy. So, but I did enjoy it. It's a good read. Go read it. So, you get to see the pregnancy. It's great.
Okay.
Hey, what do you got?
Okay. My first book is one I started a little while ago and then I paused it because I had some other books to read. So I went back and finished reading it, and that is Tate by BJ Alpha. So we have Tate, who is at this event that his parents are throwing, and he meets this gorgeous woman and he is quite smitten with her. They do it. And then the next day, he is introduced to her as one of the teens in a program that his parents run, and he is mortified. Even though it was her 18th birthday, he does not care. He is mortified. He feels gross and icky, and he is very angry, would be a mild word for how he feels. And so life goes on. And about 4 years later, he is busy running Storm Enterprises with all of his buddies whose initials make out Storm. And she gets a job there in like the advertising department, I think. And he is pretty peeved to see her for many reasons. One being that she has been stuck in his mind this entire time and he has not been able to get over her. So he's angry about that. He's angry that she's there. He's angry that they're not together. He's just angry.
Angry.
And he's kind of an ass to her. And then really quickly does kind of a 180 to where he becomes extremely obsessive, possessive, and all of those other traits that we look for in a BJ Alpha book.
Yeah.
But she has some baggage she's got from some things that have happened. And so there's a lot for them to work out. But I enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars.
Okay.
I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to continuing on.
Same. Oh,
But
yeah, that you got
Mason's book
Owen
is the
still.
one I really want to read.
We all do. And it's the last one.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm sure sometime, maybe this year. I don't know.
That's what you keep saying, and the year just keeps ticking by.
Oops. Okay, well, I know she's got other things going on too, as far as other books and stuff. So, okay. All right, she just crank them out pretty quickly though. Books.
She needs to stay dedicated to the series. I'm just teasing BJ.
Yeah. Those who say, do you hear her, BJ? Do you hear her? So, okay. Everybody's looking forward to Mason's, but okay. Yes. So
no pressure.
No pressure at all. Next, I continued down my rabbit hole of MC romances because I was just really looking for a good one this week. And so I picked up Blind Deception by Sandy Alvarez and Crystal Daniels. This is the 7th book in their Kings of Retribution Montana series. So this is about Leilani and Austin. Leilani is basically what we'd call a cartel princess or a mafia princess. And she is blind and she lost her sight when she was young. And she's been raised by her uncle. Her parents were killed and now she's raised by her uncle. Her brother also lives there with them. And her uncle is forcing her to marry some other mafia dude who is abusive and mean towards her. And so she gets her brother to agree to help her to run. Her brother is a douche canoe, and instead of helping her run, he sells her into the sex trade. Wow. And I know, douche canoe. Luckily for her, there were some other girls that were kidnapped and thrown into the back of the truck with her. And these girls belong to the MC. Like they're the daughters. One of them is a daughter to one of the guys at the MC. I think she was a daughter. And so the MC shows up and like there's a shootout. There's a whole thing before anything can happen. And she gets rescued by Austin, who is immediately smitten with her and really is just head over heels immediately. And then, she lies about her last name. She still has this past. There's a lot going on here. I rated it like a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's kind of on the insta lovey side because he is obsessed with her from the get-go, but still loved it. Probably because she's blind. I kind of got a thing for that, blind or hearing impaired, and I'm all over it.
What is that word that you like to use?
Well, there's a lot of them.
Somebody gets what's coming to them.
Comeuppance.
Yes. Does the brother get his comeuppance?
You know it. Yes, he does.
Good.
There's several comeuppances.
I didn't realize I scooted across the screen. I'm like half out of the frame. Oh gosh.
I love it.
All right. My next book is one that I put on I forgot what month it was for a second.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what I put on my April TBR, but I was really excited to read a few, so I actually knocked out a couple of books on my TBR for April already.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So this is called Put Me In Coach by K.L. Mann. And this is about Liam. Liam lives with his stepdad. He is a baseball player in college, and his stepdad is one of the coaches. And his dad was married to Jonathan, who's his coach and stepdad. And his dad had ran off and deserted them a few years ago. And so it's just been Liam and Jonathan. And Liam has been pining for his stepdad for some time. And he decides to go for it and make Jonathan his. And he is very, very dominant in this. And yeah, so it's a novella, so I will just leave it at that. I enjoyed it. I rated it 4 Taboo stars.
So just in case my brain isn't computing, that was an MM romance, right? Okay. Because Jonathan is a very odd name to give a girl, but whatever. You never know.
Also, when I referred to him as the stepdad several times.
That too. I was muted because I had my cough.
I didn't say it was MM because I felt like it was obvious.
obviously was not paying that close attention. I was coughing over here, so like I missed it. I was too loud.
Also,
Okay,
kudos to you for being out of bed.
thank you. I actually feel like a human now. Like I feel like I could go to work. Things are definitely on the mend here. So we're
That's
good.
good.
We're good. So okay. So the next book that I read, I think we could both stay on for this one because it was our buddy read that we did with Amber and Jen on our channel. So it was Finding Home by Lauren Rowe. We both enjoyed it, but it is about a guy who gets custody or he tries to go for custody. Does he get? Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, it's about this guy who's a rock star, and he has given up all of his rights to his kid, and then 2 years later, the mom is killed and her best friend has custody of the kid, and he's in rehab and he's got to come back and get his life together, but he needs a nanny and he needs someone to watch over him, and that's where Aubrey comes in. So we both enjoyed it. I gave it a 4. It is, you can go watch it. There's spoilers in the video, but worth picking up.
I feel like he doesn't. Aubrey already has
Yeah, Aubrey,
physical
yes,
custody of the child.
Yes, she does. Yeah. I mean, it was a week ago that I read it, guys. Seriously, I just keep moving it on. It's all good. So, okay.
Also, I'd just like to point out we could have switched over for your minute.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Just likes to drive you nuts. It's okay. Okay.
Well, the joke's on you because now I need to look at my notes because I don't even know what my book was. All right, my next book is an ALC that I got, and it's The Merger by Adriana Locke. And there were some issues with it getting ready for like Audible, like
Okay.
accepting it or something. So it got delayed a little bit. So the book has been out, and then the audio just came out. And I think you can go get it. Like it was basically they were waiting, and then all of a sudden it was just live. It sounds like what happened with it. So you can go listen to it now. And you should, because it's really good. So let me tell you about The Merger. Also, it is narrated by Jack Callahan and Angelina Roca. And this is about Karis. Karis is trying to get this plant business off the ground where she goes and cares for people's plants, like in offices and in their homes and things like that. And so she's working on building her business, and she's really concerned that she's not going to be successful. And so she's kind of getting desperate because she does not want to go back to work in insurance. Her best friend is Tate. Tate and Gannon are brothers. They are part of the Brewer family, and the Brewer family is quite well off, and Gannon is kind of the head of the company. So she goes to talk to Gannon and tries to convince him that she is very much needed. Like his dead plants in the lobby are off-putting to people, and she like lays it on thick and gets him to eventually reluctantly agree. And he is kind of, our jaded, grumpy guy. She's got some baggage as well, but she's still more sunshiny. And the two of them kind of get thrown together in this whole situation where she's going to be working there, taking care of all these different plants. And she starts taking care of more than just the plants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So really enjoyed this. 4 stars.
Okay. So the next book I have is one that was on my March TBR. Yep, that's the month we're ending, March. And I was really looking forward to this one. The audio came out this past week, and that is Wolfe by Paisley Hope. Now, I kept thinking it was pronounced Wolf E. Wouldn't you think that should be Wolf E? Because why is the period there? But no, it's just Wolf. I just feel like we should all know that. So, according to the audio guys. So, okay, so this is about Brindley and Wolfe. His first name is Gabriel, but he goes by Wolfe because he's the head of an MC. Brindley is basically a Southern debutante, and she's living in the big city, and she has this lawyer boyfriend who is trying to make partner and all these things, and she thinks he's going to propose to her. So they go to dinner one night, she gets all dressed up and she's all gussied up, ready to go, and instead of proposing to her, he lets her know that he has been put up for a partner in, or something to that same effect. I can't remember his partner or what it was, but in New York, and he has to go to New York and work this job for a year. And oh, by the way, he doesn't expect her to go. Like she doesn't need to go. She's finally had it. She breaks up with him. She moves home. On her way home, so she drives home to the house her parents left her. She runs into a friend at a bar one night when she's just chilling on her way home, and this friend was like her best friend in school, and she is engaged. This is her bachelorette party, and she's engaged to some guy in an MC. So she talks her Brinley into coming to the wedding because she's already said no, she wouldn't be at the wedding, but now things have changed. And the wedding is like you go away for it, like a destination wedding. She goes to the wedding. That is where she meets Wolfe. He is the head of the MC. He's never been with more with one woman more than once. He's that kind of guy. And she sees something that she is not supposed to see, which then causes him to be like, now you're going to stay with me to make sure that you're not going to rat, because it's either that or I kill you. And it's like a whole thing. I enjoyed it. I saw like there were a lot of reviews where people were like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing MC out there. And I'm like, if I hadn't read, there's a few other, like, it was good. It was 4 stars. It was good. I just wouldn't refer to it as the most amazing MC out there because there's been a lot more that I've fallen in love with. But it was good. He does have a Jacob's ladder. Just so you guys know. That gives him like an extra point.
Really?
A third of a point?
It took the book from a 3-star to a 4-star?
Yes, that's exactly what did it. The Jacob's ladder. But it did give him a couple extra points.
Interesting.
Not a full star, but points. Okay, what do you got next?
Okay, my next book is one that was on my TBR literally a year ago. Like,
yeah.
Literally in the TBR journal like a year ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read this book.
Okay.
So I did. And you know how we have this quest to find like a really good time travel that stands up to like Elizabeth O'Rourke's Parallel series or The Surviving Trace by Calla Reed, and we just always fall short?
Yeah, but I can tell by your face that this wasn't it.
We have fallen short once again. But
Yeah,
other people might enjoy this, so let me tell you about it, and people can go from there. So this is Ghost Walk by Cassandra Gannon, I believe. I hope I said that right. Okay, so we have Grace, and Grace is a crime scene investigator. She's investigating a crime scene, and she kind of has a mental break where she believes she's she goes like back in time a few days, like to when this happened, to when the murder happened, and she sees it take place, and she basically like has this breakdown. So she has to take a break from her job. But she still has bills to pay, so she gets a job. She lives in like a colonial town, so she gets a job as a ghost walk tour guide. And she does it, and she's on the tour, she's giving the tour, she knows she sucks at it, and she's getting like heckled by this guy. And a lot of people wear costumes here and they dress up because it's fun and like pretending they're from colonial times. So this guy's kind of dressed like a pirate, and he's heckling her the whole time. And she finally has enough of it, and he's correcting her on her facts and all of this. And so she has enough of it. She turns around and yells at him, and he is astonished that she can see him. And everybody on the tour thinks that she's either one, lost her mind, or doing a horrible job of trying to scare them on the ghost tour because no one's there. But she can see James. So James is a pirate, and she recognizes him and knows who he is based on some history books. So he was a pirate who was hung for being a mass murderer. And he wants her to prove that he is not. So she is able to time travel back and is trying to prove that he is not the murderer. This synopsis I just gave sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
It should have been so good.
Yeah.
But it was a little lackluster at times. I'm so sorry. And it's told in third person, so that kind of might have something to do with that for me. Other people might really enjoy it. But instead of it just being focused on that, like in the Parallel series, there's a reason for what's happening. I'm not going to give anything away. In the Surviving Trace, she simply looks at a photo and time travels back. And then that's part of the problem, is how does she get back and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was full of like magic and spells, and there's a troll at one point in time. And I wish all of that would have been gone, and it just would have been like this weird thing that somehow she's able to time travel and she has to help him, and
Mm-hmm.
all that other stuff wouldn't have been in there, because I feel like then it kind of made the story kind of cheesy for me, a
Yeah.
little corny,
Yeah.
especially when the troll happened.
But
But
she didn't
other
get with the
people who
troll.
really like paranormal and the fantasy elements may enjoy this one.
Again, there was no troll action, huh?
No, it's very brief. If somebody wants to read it, I don't want to give that away.
Yeah.
But
No, it's
yeah.
okay.
So it was 3 stars. I liked a lot of it and I disliked some of
Some
it.
of it. Yeah. Okay.
And possibly part of that's my fault, because I went in with like what I told you the book was about is how I wanted the book to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get it. I get it. Okay.
Next.
Well, the next book I have is our book club book, and that is The Initiation by Nikki Sloan. I'm just going to talk about it really quickly because by now book club will be over and we'll be on to the next one, or at least trying to figure out the next one. So by the time you guys watch this, so this was a reread for me. I have read this before, but this was chosen, and I was so excited because I've been dying to get Mandy to read this series. So this is the first book in the Filthy Rich American series by Nikki Sloan. This is about Marist and Royce. Royce's family owns, like, they're big up in this big bank situation. And Marist's dad works for them, and they when they were kids, like, Royce's mom always thought that they would get married. Now Marist has an older sister, and she fully expects that person, her sister, to be the one that marries Royce. But something happens, and there's the family's in debt, and she's got to bail her family out of this, and the only way to do that is to marry Royce. But like, there's this initiation thing that happens, and I don't want to give anything away. I really enjoyed this. That was a really crappy explanation, but it is what it is. I gave it, I mean, I the original reading, when I read it originally, I gave it 5 stars, and I still really enjoyed it. So, you know, keep going. Which is good. It was good to do the reread because I need to read book number 4 in the series. And so I need to refresh my memory because it's been like 4 years since I read it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. So my next book is The Nanny is Off Limits by QB Tyler.
Ooh,
And
okay.
Jessica,
Mm-hmm.
spoiler,
Mm-hmm.
The Nanny was not actually off limits.
Okay. I didn't think so.
So this is an ALC, and the actual book and the audiobook both come out on April 3rd. The audiobook is narrated by Stephen Dexter and Audrey Oben. They do a phenomenal job, so highly recommend the audiobook as well. So this is Rowan. Rowan has 3 kids, a 16-year-old, I think the son is like 10 or 11, and then a little girl that's about 6. And him and his wife divorced several years ago, and then she was killed in an accident. So he is now, they've solo raising their 3 kids. And so he's raising the 3 kids and he's really struggling. He's an attorney, so his hours are kind of demanding. He relies a lot on his 16-year-old daughter to help, but things are going south quickly. Like, his son just got suspended from school again, and it's only like the second day of school or the second week of school. Like, it's very early in the school year. His son's getting suspended. He comes home early with his son to find his daughter on the couch with her boyfriend in a compromising position. So he's kind of, stressed out and feeling really overwhelmed with what's going on. His brother River helps him out a lot. And River is with the little girl at the grocery store one day, and they run into this lady who has really taken to the little girl while she's trying to climb up to get some cookies, and River, like, loses track of her for a little bit. And he basically like accosts her in the grocery store to apply to be the nanny.
Okay.
And so she decides to, because she used to nanny, she's in graduate school, so she decides like this would be a good way for her to have some extra money. So she then becomes the nanny. She's 20 years younger, oh gosh, I just totally messed that story up. She's 20 years younger than Rowan. So we have a pretty big age gap. He's got 3 older kids. She's just kind of starting off in life.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you're like looking at the cover, but he is not bad to look at. And then we also have her who's like, very attractive. And one thing that he loves about her, or he starts to fall in love with her over, is the fact that how much she cares for his kids. And so it's such a good story. It is QB Tyler, so you definitely get the QB Tyler and daddy stuff happening, but
Mm,
it also is a very emotionally gripping story as well. It is like that part just adds to it. It does not take away from it. I loved it. It's 5 stars.
cool. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like a good
And
nanny
sorry I
book.
spoiled it by saying that turns out the nanny was not off limits, but if you couldn't figure that out, then I'm sorry.
Okay, so the next book I have, it's not going to be for everybody, and it was written intentionally that way. It is called Wrong Pucking Move by Katie Landry. And yes, it is a hockey book. And I know you're looking at me like I'm nuts, but it is about cheating and the grovel. And it's a novella. So I'll just tell you about it for a second. So we have Josie, who's our heroine, and she has been with our, hero, Jesse, since they were in college. Now, let me just, if you're an author, please don't do that. Josie and Jesse, please don't do that. That my brain had a very hard time with that, especially with my name being Jessica. That was really hard. Anyhow, because I kept thinking girl. But anyhow, they've been together since they were in college. She's been with him. She is a fifth grade teacher. She has been with him through college. She kind of talks about her body and stuff, like she's might be a little on the chunkier side. And she kind of puts herself down a little bit because she's not like this glamorous model, but they've been together for a very long time. She went with him through the minors, and now he is in the NHL. She thinks he's going to propose to her. Turns out, no, he's going to dump her because there's this blonde person. I can't remember what she does for the hockey team, but she's there, and he wants to date other people because now he is in the NHL and he's making the money and he can get the poon. So he's gonna go do that. Well, now we fast forward a year later. She's had her little bed buddy. She has a bed buddy. But she is just has not really, I mean, she's tried to move on. But now he's realized that he was a dumbass and he should have never broken it up with her. And so he is going to grovel for 90% of this book. And so I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. The whole point is the whole cheating. And I guess it's going to be a series where they're all different kind of like stars or whatever. It was kind of good if you're looking for that cheating with the grovel, but I'm hoping that writing improves a tiny bit as we get going here, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. So some of it was a little corny. Some of it made me laugh. Is what it is.
All right. Well, my next book has cheating as well.
Cool. What is it?
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Before We Fall by Aurora Rose Reynolds. And this is about Miranda. So Miranda one day is taking care of her 3-year-old son, and she is looking for something on her husband's computer, and he has his text messages pop up. And she discovers that he has been cheating on her. And she kind of looks through and discovers this has been going on for a while. She has been a stay-at-home mom with their son. Her husband's a police officer, so he works, kind of crazy hours and late nights and things like that. So she's stayed at home with her son. And so she realizes she's got to get a plan in place before she confronts him. So she starts working on getting everything organized. They have to go to a ball for the police thing. And while she's there, she finds the lady he's been having an affair with and her husband. And from there, things kind of go really quickly. So he ends up finding out that she knows. They end up starting like that whole separation. She moves out, but she also meets, so the lady he's been cheating with is, her name's Naomi, and Naomi's husband's name is Tucker. So she not only cheated on her husband with a married man who has a kid, so she's a stellar woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tucker immediately kicks her kind of to the curb and divorces her. But Tucker and Miranda end up spending some time together and end up dating and starting to fall for each other. And like I said, this kind of all happens fairly quickly. It's done really well. Like you don't feel like anything's rushed, but and then from there, we have the two exes who decide, well, wait, we're not really happy that you two are together. So they try and cause problems. And in the meantime, Tucker is a detective and he is trying to solve a murdered teenage girl's murder, like what happened there. And so you got like the romantic suspense elements going on as well. I really, really enjoyed this one. So we
Yeah.
don't get groveling because she doesn't go back to him. Like she's done. She is done with him.
Yeah. What'd you rate it?
4 stars.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Good. All right.
I'm done.
I'm
Mandy's
not.
out.
Okay, I got a couple.
It's
Okay.
all you.
Thanks. All
We'll
right.
just
So the
switch
next.
you over.
That's not how this works. But I mean, you
Yes.
can leave it there anyway. So the next book that I have that I read was Carnival of Creeps by January Rain. This is book 1.5 in her, what do we call it? Her Shallow Cove dimensions. This one, I really don't want to say much. It is tiny. It is not that big. It kind of sets up what's going to happen next, or puts some more players into the thing here, into the series. So this is a paranormal series. We do see Lex and Maven from the very first book are in here. They're actually getting hot and heavy in the very first chapter. It was kind of crazy, but he's a vampire, she's a witch. But there's basically, this is a Halloween novella. There's a carnival that comes to town, and there's some other creatures that come in, and they're being tortured, and it's like a whole thing. But it's just kind of setting up what's going to happen, or kind of pushing us forward. You kind of have to read it to continue on the series. So I did. Gave it 4 stars. It was great. You have to do this in between, otherwise I get lonely. Get very lonely. Okay. And then
I was reading something.
oh, okay. I have one more. You're gonna love this one. I need you. You're gonna love this one. I picked this up when I was at Romanticon in LA, because you and I, when we go to these events, we have a thing where we find an author we haven't read yet and we get a book from them. And so I continued that. You were there with me in spirit when I was in LA. And so I met this author, and I walked up to her and I was like, I like breeding and I like stalking. So I got Bred by the Wolfman. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is by, I hope I say this right, Leone Riley. It actually does have, look, it's got this cute little art print and everything. Okay, so this is about Dee. Dee has decided she's taken a job to basically be a surrogate. She's a human surrogate to a paranormal creature. She doesn't know what she's going to get. She's strapped to a table, ass in the air, just waiting for him to come in, because it's a breeding clinic type situation. And everything is supposed to be on the down low. Like they're not allowed to exchange names. She's not even allowed to see this person. She doesn't even know what creature he is until he comes in and she asks him, so she knows. Well, that is where we meet Russ. So Russ is our Wolfman, and he really wants a cub. And so they get at it hot and heavy, and that's when he realizes that this is his mate, but he can't do anything to jeopardize the fact that he's supposed to not know who she is, which he doesn't know who she is, but he can't ask her name or anything, because that could jeopardize him having a baby. It could jeopardize him getting his little cub that he's looking forward to. So once he finds out she's pregnant, then that's when the stalking begins, because he knows that that is his mate and that his mate is carrying his cub. So there's a lot of breeding involved in this one. It was a little on the crazy side, but I did enjoy it, and I gave it 4 stars. She has one other book in the series, and it's Bred by the Dragon, so I will be reading that one too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So there's our week.
There it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, tell us all the fun stuff you've been reading, and hopefully my cat won't delete any more comments.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need
Yeah.
to put her somewhere else. She just I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
she's cat.
Yep. She's a cat.
She does her own thing. You don't really tell Noelle what to do.
No, she's a cat. Yeah.
Anyway, so please check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and
Mhm.
Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.